Hey everyone. So we're doing a video today, or we're doing an interview with a gentleman that I've known for a little while, who's always trying to bring me to the dark side away from tropical astrology. He's always leaving little breadcrumbs telling me what I'll find. I think we're going to figure it out today. Yeah, I think we are. For the record, I use tropical astrology when I decode, and a little bit of Vedic, in the sense that I do mention Ophiuchus a few times, but it's like 99% of the time tropical to 1% Ophiuchus. Let me bring Ike on. Hey, brother.
Hey, brother, how are you, man? Nice to
I'm,
see you.
I'm good. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's good because there's always this like debate and people fight about the two different systems, but
I
we
feel
just
like they're
just talk.
just, I feel like they're honestly just two ways to the same place. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the way that I see it, but I I'm lost when it comes to sidereal Vedic astrology. So
Hmm.
can you
Hmm.
explain what it is? First of all, introduce yourself, what you
Okay.
do, and everything.
Yeah, I'm Isaac. I go by Ike or Captain Ike, and I do sidereal astrology. Sometimes it's called true sidereal because we use the actual sizes of the constellations and we account for precession, which moves the zodiac back. So we actually try to align. So basically, we also call it astronomically aligned astrology.
Hmm.
So it's with the constellations.
Okay.
So that's what I do. Yeah.
And what exactly is sidereal or Vedic astrology? And if you can describe the difference between the two.
Okay. So it's sidereal or sidereal. We call it sidereal. It's basically called sidereal is star time. So the difference is that um, we with precession we move back 1 degree every 72 years. So since the beginning of the age of Pisces, we've been precessing through the zodiac. So that's where you get the ages from. Tropical astrology does not use precession. So we stayed locked on the system since the beginning of the age of Pisces. So
Hmm.
spring equinox, we say Aries, but the real constellation that the sun, the physical sun, is actually in Pisces. So
Gotcha.
that's sidereal, is we move with the stars, with the
I'm
ages.
thinking that sidereal might be a little more complicated since everything isn't exactly a nice even
Yeah,
solstices and equinoxes. Everything is broken down into 30 days. Everything is very nice and easy with tropical, even though it's complicated. It's nice
yeah,
and easy. Whereas sidereal, you have to really. What
yeah.
are some uh, what are some differences between sidereal and tropical astrology? Uh,
Um,
you give readings, right?
yeah, I give readings, and I give it. You might hear the term Western sidereal astrology. So I give a reading. It's the same. It's the same way anybody would even read a Western tropical chart.
Mhm.
You have your sun in Pisces. Okay, what does that mean in the fifth house? It's the same thing. I mean, Vedic is a little different because it's more of the Hindu tradition. So you have all the gods, and it's pretty deep. But also Vedic uses an even 30 degrees. So they use 30 degrees per sign, um, and and that's so it's even like that. True
Well, doesn't
sidereal,
tropical also do that?
yeah, tropical uses 30 degrees per sign. Vedic uses the sidereal wheel, so it uses precession.
Hmm.
So it aligns with the constellations best as possible. But true sidereal or this the what I practice is we use the actual sizes. So for example, like Pisces is a really big constellation. So if I were to give a reading right now today, the sun is still in Pisces. So you would be a Pisces today. But in tropical astrology, we would say you're an Aries, right?
Hmm.
So
How
that's the difference.
how can things be so different yet both be correct in their own way?
I mean that's the question. I mean, what I've come up with, because I've been researching this for a while. I've been trying to figure out what is going on. So the short answer is tropical keeps you in your human state, your physical Saturnian human state, and sidereal brings you out to more of a cosmic understanding of trying to become a fractal of what the solar system is going through, because the solar system goes through the precessional cycle of 26,000 years.
Now,
So,
have you done any studies into like physics or quantum physics to basically help with your work or any of that kind of stuff?
I mean, a little bit with the whole idea of what quantum entanglement means,
Hmm.
because one of the debates between trying to figure out what type of astrology to study is, usually the debate is like, oh, the stars don't matter. Like when you're having a debate with a tropical astrologer, the stars don't matter. Whatever, and it's just like, well, the stars, maybe they do matter, because if you look into electric universe and quantum entanglement, everything is reacting instantly. So
Right.
what if
You
the
could say
star?
everything is binary, right? The stars are binary with one
Yeah,
another,
yeah,
um, and so on and so forth. Everything is entangled.
yeah. Everything is entangled, and that's the whole model: is that the whole universe fits in this inside of something the size of a pea. So every single particle in this known universe was entangled at one point. So that's why I'm paying attention to, well, maybe the stars do matter. So why not practice aligning to the stars, and that
Hmm.
will bring out more information.
Now, an interesting thing, Isaac, when I go online, because I tried to get a picture of this,
Yeah,
I can't find it. I could find tons of tropical zodiacs, but I
yeah,
can't seem to find a sidereal zodiac. Do you have a
yeah.
picture of one? What it would look like?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, let's see here. I'll show you. I put up a few things.
Because this is literally new to me. I've never seen one before.
Okay, so share screen, right? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, you have share screen permission. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, let me know. Let me know when it's up. Oh, entire screen. Hang on a second. Here we go. I'm gonna do my whole screen. All
Well,
right, so you see my screen?
yeah. Hold on.
So here's a sidereal chart. Let me know if it comes up. You see it?
Yeah.
Because I can't see right at this point.
No, I
So
understand. I understand. You can only see the chart. I get it. I've done this
yeah,
before.
yeah, exactly. So just
I'm
yeah,
looking
so
at it,
just
and you're looking at a bunch of like Virgo's enormous, Scorpio's
yep,
tiny, Cancer's tiny.
yep. And then look at
Oh
Pisces, how
wow,
big
I would
Pisces is.
love this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can set you up. We'll organize this together.
Okay.
But so this is a snapshot of the actual sky on a chart. So basically, that image that we always see of the ancient astronomer or astrologer looking out of the window with his telescope, and he has a chart with him,
Yeah.
right? So that gives us the image that an astrologer is mapping the sky on a chart.
Hmm.
And when you're looking to tropical, and this is where the kind of butting heads comes in. When you're looking at tropical, that's not what's happening. So there's a form of like, hey, what's really going on here? Because we're not really mapping the sky on a chart. So with this chart here, the sidereal chart, this is the actual mapping of the sky. So here you can see on the full moon, which is on the 5th, and what is that, tomorrow?
Hmm.
It's the sun is in Pisces, and the actual moon is in Virgo. So if you want to get into like a
So
nice
those are opposing
astrotheology,
signs in tropical. They
say it
seem
again.
to. Those are opposing signs in tropical, and they seem to still be kind of opposing signs
Yeah,
here too.
yeah, yeah. And this is biblical. I mean, I'm wearing the. I don't know if you can see me on the screen, but I'm wearing
Now
the Mother
stand up.
Mary.
Let's see it. It looks like Mother
Yeah, can
Mary.
you see me?
Yeah, it looks like Mother Mary.
Yeah, yeah. This is the Guadalupe Mother Mary with the stars. She has a
Hmm.
cloak with stars. I wore that special for you.
Oh, thank you.
But this is, so for example, this is like a biblical story what we're looking at here, because this is the Mother Virgo holding baby Jesus, the Sun, in
Hmm.
Pisces. Right? He's the sun of our age,
Right.
and this is
And it's
also what you see
interesting
in
too.
Egypt.
It's interesting too. I don't mean to jump in and interrupt,
No,
but
good, good.
we consider Aries to be the beginning of the new year. And I do
Hmm.
plenty of talks on how January 1st, the reason why that is the new year is because at midnight on December 31st, Sirius is at its height, and it's our binary. It's at its total height. That's why January 1st. But who has a new year in winter? For all of time, it was in spring. It was during the spring equinox. You still have the Passover. You have Easter around that time. You have the sun literally passes over the equator. But further back than that, the year actually began in Virgo. That a lot of people don't know.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
You didn't know that? The year began in Virgo. So that's why the sun passes through Leo, and then a brand new born again sun is birthed through a virgin. That's where that goes back to. That's why, because the beginning of the year was in Virgo, the lady with the wheat stalk. In fact, I'm going to do a video on this when Easter comes around. I don't know if it's going to be the day before or on Easter, but if you look at Inanna, or as she's known as Ishtar, where we get the word Easter from, there's an old depiction of her where she's Virgo. She's holding a leash and stepping on a lion, and Leo and Virgo are right next to each other. They've been telling the same story forever. This is 4000 BC we're talking. And they've been telling the same story. But I'm sorry, I like to go off track sometimes, but please continue.
Yeah, off track is good. No, that lion with the tail, that I saw that on the ceiling of the Temple of Dendera.
Yes.
So
you've been there?
I couldn't figure it out. Huh?
You've been there?
Yeah. I was in Egypt last year for 3 months.
Okay, we're gonna mention the Dendera zodiac in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I want to learn more about Ophiuchus first. So I see here that Ophiuchus is in black.
Yeah, this is it here.
Okay, so for as much emphasis that you put on Ophiuchus, it's kind of tiny.
Yeah, it's a tiny constellation. So I've done a lot of research on Ophiuchus because Ophiuchus that
I want to
it's
know everything about Ophiuchus.
okay. Should I keep sharing it or should I stop sharing? And
it's up to you. What do you feel more comfortable doing?
Yeah. I'll stop the screen and I want to show you a couple books that I have. Hang on, let me just get back to where I am with you here. Okay, there, so I can see myself. So what I found with Ophiuchus, it's the same story of Jesus, the same story of so Ophiuchus is actually Imhotep of Egypt, and they have the same common thread of a story, and the common thread is it's a normal non-royal family has a child. That child is just a regular non-royal human, and he rises up and becomes a mortal god, and later becomes deified, and then later becomes worshipped. So that's the Imhotep story of Egypt, which is a direct correlation to Ophiuchus, which is Asclepius, which is Emotep.
Right.
And that's his story, and it's the same thing where it's like you can't find his body. He ascended. Same thing as Christ. He ascended. So these are like the kind of same stories, and it that where Ophiuchus is the most important part of the story. He's
It's
in the
between
galactic
Scorpio
center.
and Sagittarius.
Yeah, he's in the galactic center. That's the most important part of the story. That if I show you what I'm going to show you, that is the portal out of here. So that is the Christos, which the Mayas call that part of the sky, the Shibaba, which is the crossing, which is the cross. So all these stories kind of have an interweaving thread of
Well,
crossing.
I talk about Jesus being an astrotheological anthropomorphic allegory of the sun going through the 12 or 13 signs
Yeah.
On his hero's journey that Joseph Campbell writes about, the hero's journey. It
Mm-hmm.
would only make sense, and each one of these signs plays a part, but it will only make sense that at the macrocosm of the zodiac, as you get a little smaller to individual signs, that the whole story would continue to play out as you fractal down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we are. We're trying to embody a fractal embodiment of what's really going on in the sky. Now, remember, did you ever read this book? You ever come across this guy, John Major Jenkins?
No.
So let me show you just something real quick. Here's an image that I use a lot. This is the Maya cosmology.
Bring it a
You see
little
that?
closer. Bring it a little closer. Okay. Yeah. We got it.
You see the shaman. He's on a throne.
Yes.
He's in the galactic center. This
Mm-hmm.
is the exact location of Ophiuchus. So what this story says
Can
is
you
that
define galactic center for people real quick?
okay, so the Milky Way galaxy, when you're looking south at Scorpio,
Mm-hmm.
it's the band, it's the arm of our galaxy that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it as like it looks like a cloudy arm.
Right. Well, the
And
center of the Milky Way galaxy is Sagittarius, so it would make sense that Ophiuchus would be huddled up right next to it.
yeah, exactly. So Ophiuchus is standing like right in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and there's actually a pulsar star there. But here's what gets interesting. You see, we hear these stories of the other world. The Mayas call that place Shibaba, the place of the other world.
Mm-hmm.
The crossing, and then we have the cross. Um, then on the on the winter solstice of December 21st, 2012. Remember that whole 2012 story?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Well, that
So
was when the Mayan calendar ran out.
exactly. And what Baktun? What was the date? 13 Baktun. The 13, right? And then what happened? What happens on the solstice? The sun is said to die for 3 days and then resurrect again.
On the winter solstice, correct? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, winter solstice. It dies, and then it resurrects. And where
Mm-hmm.
does it go? According to Maya cosmology, it goes to Shibaba. It goes to the other world. So then I kind of was like, well, what is really going on in this other world?
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out that there's actually another galaxy crossing right at that point. It's the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy crosses our galaxy. So we're literally merging with another world right at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a pulsar there. There's
You know, it's
SGR 86.
interesting too because everyone makes such a big deal about the fact that Andromeda is going to collide with us, and then
Yeah,
it's going to like cause this huge mess. But what you're telling
yeah,
me right now is that we're already merging with another one,
yeah,
and I don't
mhm,
foresee anything happening with that.
yeah, yeah. So some say that we might be from that galaxy, that we're merging into this Milky Way galaxy, and we're the ones that can go back and forth. So
Mm-hmm.
this is where you get this whole thing of like the 13th is the sign is the way out, the ascension. This is where we go to the other world. This is the afterworld. This is that whole that's the whole story.
So it's the portal.
That's yeah, yeah. That's the whole story of the 13. That's why 13 is so taboo.
Those are how the soul leaves.
Yeah,
Is what you're saying. This is how the
yeah.
soul leaves the physical.
Yeah, I believe from what I'm looking at. So I want to read you something from the Hermetica. Did you ever read the Hermetica?
Of course.
Short story, right?
Yeah.
So there is it's called the Zodiac and Destiny, right?
Sure. Read it.
And this is what triggered me. So basically, in the beginning, the gods, which are the planets, are complaining that Atum is going to create humans, and it's saying if you're going to create humans, they're going to seek to discover everything. They will press on to explore the world above, seeking by observation to discover the laws that govern the movements of the heavens. So basically, they're saying, don't create these humans. They're going to be too inquisitive. We can't
Right.
control them. So then Atum replies, I will build a zodiac, a secret mechanism in the stars, linked to the unerring and inevitable fate. The lives of men from birth to final destruction shall be controlled by the hidden workings of this mechanism. So a zodiac he builds, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then it says, few can escape few can escape their fate or guard against the terrible influences of the zodiac, for the stars are instruments of destiny. So here you have one story saying, "Well, I'm going to build the zodiac to control you on Earth, so you're not going to be able to escape the influence of the zodiac." So then you're going to be very familiar with the next thing that I point out, Job 38:32, right?
Can
What
you
does he
lead
say?
forth the Mazaroth?
Right? He says, know the Mazaroth, know the ordinances of heaven, because if you do, you will establish your dominion on earth.
Right.
Learn how to bring forth the seasons right? And all this stuff. So here you have God in the Bible saying, hey, know that zodiac, because if you can understand how the zodiac works and you can understand how the ordinances of heaven move, you'll be able to establish your dominion on earth, right? So God is telling you, no, learn astrology.
There's a
And
very
here you
specific
have
reason why the Roman Catholic Catechism 2116 forbids astrology.
exactly
In
right.
fact, I think Muhammad also said that astrology is one of the branches of witchcraft
Yes.
too.
Hmm.
Which is awkward because in the Old Testament they used astrologers to. I
Hmm.
mean, first of all, the wise men in the New Testament represent Orion's belt, the three wise men.
Exactly right.
So they talk about astrologers all the time, but then they tell you that it's evil, when
Yeah.
in reality it's our entire thing.
Right.
When we're quantum entangled at the tiny particle at the very beginning of everything,
Hmm.
we're all quantumly entangled. That's why when you read the Bible and they talk about Jesus saying, love your neighbor, or he says, what you've done for the least of me, you've also done to me. Or
Hmm.
in the Quran, when they tell you that if you kill a man without him being guilty of manslaughter, it's as if you've killed the whole world. When you understand that we're all one, these make a lot more sense than if you
Yeah.
just sit there and read it.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah. That's the gospel right there, man. So this is the reason why I focus on studying with the actual stars and the constellations, like to
Mhm.
be as accurate as I can, because there is an influence that's controlling us, and if we know it, maybe that's what the eighth sphere is, right? Breaking out because we're controlled on the seven spheres of Saturn.
Yeah, well, you can also talk about us ascending the age of Aquarius and
Mhm.
our DNA reinactivating to the third strand, going up to the 12th. There's
Yeah,
so much to get into. There's so much
yeah,
that you can talk about with this.
yeah.
Um, how do the days work for?
Oh,
Do you
okay.
have? I'm just wondering how the days would work because they're pretty set in stone. I know they're
Yeah,
set in stone for Vedic too, but they're not so neat and organized like 30-day segments. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I
I'm
know
gonna
that
show you the
Scorpio's
dates.
6 days, Virgo's a month and a half. I was just wondering if you had like a breakdown or if you could just discuss that.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up for you. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Wait, where'd it go? Here it goes. Here. Uh, I thought I had it up. Wait, hold on one second.
Sure. Take your time.
Oh yeah, here it is, right here. Yep. So
Okay,
can you
I'm gonna
see
add it
that?
to the stream. Okay, we're good.
Yeah. Okay, good. So here you have. So what I use is called midpoints. This
Mm-hmm.
is using the exact sizes of the locations of the constellations.
Mm-hmm.
So you have these are your dates here. So you have
Mm-hmm.
the tropical is your nice evenly cut 30 days. The midpoints are all over the place, and it includes a
Mm-hmm.
fucus for the actual time the sun is there. So it's not that long. And then
Right.
next to it you have the IAU boundaries, which are kind of arbitrary lines drawn by the International Astronomers Union. So when they
Mm-hmm.
made this, they didn't take into account the influence of the ecliptic, which is actually the zodiac belt. They just mapped it out. So this is the confusion that we have with the fucus. Some say the fucus starts on November 29th.
Oh,
Midpoint
do me
say,
a favor. Do me a favor. Quickly define ecliptic for everyone.
oh, ecliptic. Okay, ecliptic is the path that the sun and the planets travel. So if you notice that the sun, when you see all this, well, you can see it now. We have what's called um, a stellium, where all the planets are aligned. You can
Mm-hmm.
see they look like they're aligned in a straight line. That's the ecliptic. That's where the
Mm-hmm.
sun and the planets travel. The moon
Mm-hmm.
travels 5 degrees off of the ecliptic.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that ecliptic is also defined as the zodiac belt. So this is where the debate comes in: is the sun does pass through a fucus because the fucus is in the ecliptic, and the ecliptic is the zodiac belt.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we get.
Gotcha. Okay, so I want to leave this. I have a question for you, but I want to leave this up so people can really like write the
Yeah,
title.
yeah, yeah. Let's leave it up while we talk. And yeah,
What
so
is the story of Ophiuchus? How far back have you traced it since it's been used, and
mhm.
what does it represent? Whereas Aries is the ram, uh,
Okay.
bring the new year. Taurus is the bull because you have to put the
Mhm.
plow on the bull. They all make stories.
Right.
What's the story behind Ophiuchus?
Okay. So a fucus, I traced it back. My furthest tracing went to Egypt for me, Egypt somehow makes the most sense of purity when it comes to cosmology and
Are we
astrotheology.
talking the beginning, like Osiris, or are we talking later, like Horus? Because Egypt, people don't realize when you talk about Egypt,
Hmm.
there's a very long time period that Egypt. Yes, it was the age of Taurus, and yes, it was even in the age of Gemini too. In fact, I
Hmm.
posit the fact that the pyramids, right, because they can't
Hmm.
date them, the pyramids that line up to Orion's belt,
Hmm.
I think that they were made during um, the time of Orion. And Orion sits between Gemini and Taurus. So right around that time period is when I think that the pyramids were made. Because if you look at Graham Hancock's work or anybody that talks about it, we know that the Sphinx faced the constellation Leo 12,000 years ago,
Hmm.
when um, when it would have probably have been made, because the back is all smooth and water had run over it and it melted the last ice age. It just, when you start to realize that everything is based off astrology, you
Yep.
can really narrow things down. So that was my thought on the
Hmm.
pyramids.
Hmm.
um
Hmm.
but I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I traced it. Yeah, I traced it back to Emotep, which I'm forgetting. There's so much information that you forget, but it's 27 BC, right? Um, and it's just a story. I think it's what I found when I was in Egypt was that these are stories that you embody.
Hmm.
So if you notice like Ramses, right?
Hmm.
Ramses 1, 2, 3, all the way to whatever. These are just embodiments of the archetype energy.
Right.
That's what it is. And you that so a lot of times you see Osiris, the Osiris position, it's actually another pharaoh embodying Osiris for
Hmm.
this certain ceremony.
Hmm.
Um, so that's what I found, is that these are embodying. So now if you look at it like that, these are people who can embody, like you can embody Christ consciousness.
Hmm.
And I believe that there was a man named Jesus Christ that embodied Christ consciousness and was trying to share it with the world, right? There was a guy named Emotep that embodied Christ consciousness and was trying to share it with
Well,
the
I mean,
world.
I'll completely agree that there's a Christ in every civilization. Of course there is. There's different
Yeah,
names for it. But
exactly.
the idea of God and the Savior to save the world is the oldest story on earth.
Exactly. Right. And from my findings is that Ophiuchus was this person.
Gotcha.
It was a person that if you can if you can tame, he was the serpent bearer, the
Yes.
snake, the most primordial energy. If you can tame the most primordial energy, then you can become this
Would the
godlike
snake
human.
be the rod of Asclepius or the
Yep,
Kundalini or
yep.
any of that?
All of that. Yeah. Even when the pharaoh has the Uraeus, the snake on his head,
Yeah.
the Uraeus signifies he's been initiated to cosmic consciousness. He's on his way to become, ascended.
You know,
That's the whole thing.
there's a passage in the Bible,
Mhm.
um, where they talk about how there will be a serpent in the road and it'll bite the horse's heel and the rider will fall. I don't
Oh
know
my God, that's the
if you ever
story.
come
Yeah.
across it, but it's literally Ophiuchus holding up the serpent. The serpent's head is facing Sagittarius, the horse, so it bites
Yeah.
the heel, and then the rider falls off. It's just
Right.
so right there when you know what you're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all there, man. Yeah. And so what I believe is that the zodiac, according to the Hermetica, it's influencing humans. And if you look at it, most of the zodiac, besides just Virgo and what else do we, and the Fucus, they're all animals,
Hmm.
right? So this is the primordial animal nature that we're being controlled by.
Well, they
So if
talk
you can,
about the fact that I've heard people make the case that like you have Aquarius, who's the man. You
yeah,
have, let me just go through these real quick. So you have
hmm,
Aquarius, who's the man. You have
hmm,
Gemini, who are the two twins. You
hmm,
have Virgo, the woman. You
hmm,
have Libra, the man with the scales.
hmm,
Sometimes it's just the scales. Sometimes it's a man with the scales, but
hmm,
sometimes it is the man with the scales. The rest are animals. They talk
yeah,
about
right,
people who are born into cerebral, um, endless possibilities are the human signs. which kind of
Hmm.
makes sense if you think about it.
Oh, interesting. Endless possibility, and it's funny. Everyone that you mentioned has some type of duality symbolism to it.
Hmm.
Like Aquarius is the two jugs of water. Usually, you see Gemini is the pillars of man.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's quite interesting. But
So,
Libra, go ahead.
no, sorry. No, go on, please. Go on.
But Libra is quite interesting because I saw a lot of Libra in Egypt on the temples. It's actually Ma'at, Maat, the Hall of Two Truths.
Yeah.
It's where they weigh the heart against the feather. And if you don't make it, if your heart is heavier than the feather, then it gets spilled over and the Scorpio eats it.
Yeah.
So this is like the same. These are zodiac stories on the temple walls.
In fact, we get the Ten Commandments from what's called the 42 positive affirmations of Mott.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right.
So
That's
there's the
that's
42 negative confessions, and then there's the 42 positive. But all you got to do is open up the Egyptian Book of the Dead, chapter 125. You'll find 3 of the 10 commandments right there. I mean, it's just so
yeah.
obvious. It's right there. So how did Ophiuchus get tagged with the serpent bearer? So we were talking the serpent bearer, the man who has to bear the snake. Moses
Yeah.
is in the desert with
Hmm.
his people, and they're getting rowdy because they're annoyed. They've been walking forever, so they like bum rush him.
I'm gonna.
Snakes come out of the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and snakes come out of the ground and basically attack these people, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
them die, and some of them are dying, and they ask for
Mm-hmm.
Moses to go and fix it with God. So Moses
Mm-hmm.
goes in his tent, he prays to God, and then God answers him, and he says, "Take a staff, wrap a snake around it. Anyone who sees it will live."
Well, right. That's the short version. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that. So when you're looking at all this, the serpent energy is the Kundalini energy. If you
Yes, that's what it goes
notice,
back to. Yeah.
yeah, if you notice, even the modern day medicine symbol uses the
The
same staff,
Caduceus.
the caduceus. Yeah, it's two snakes.
Hmm.
When you talk about Moses and you talk about Emotep, it's the one snake.
Yep.
It's the unifying this Kundalini energy. So the serpent bearer is the one who can take all that energy and the fear. You see how you spoke about the snakes come out of the ground and there's a lot of fear and so it's about eliminating all of that through the journey, the hero's journey, and then harnessing it and taming the serpent energy.
Hmm. So
That's Fucus.
have you been watching? Do you watch my channel when I do the astrology breakdowns and such?
Yeah, yeah, I follow you here and there. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I guess my question would simply be this. I've said that my decodings are 99% tropical, 1% sidereal.
Hmm.
Uh, and the reason I say that is because to me there's two snakes in the Bible. I'm not in
Mm,
the Bible. There's two snakes in the heavens. You have Ophiuchus,
hmm.
serpent bearer, and I mean that passage with the snake biting the horse's heel is just so obvious.
Yeah, right
But
on. Yeah.
you have that, but you also have Hydra, who's in a similar location, who's the sea
Hmm.
serpent. So you have
Mm,
multiple serpents there too. So I have to differentiate which one I'm talking about. But
hmm.
when I'm talking about opposing signs and connecting signs, everything
Hmm.
is so nice and neat when I use tropical astrology that I wonder if you think that what I do would work with sidereal astrology.
Yeah, I think you would. I mean, when you look at tropical and you look at the system, it's like I said, like it's like man man with its limited capacity needs to bring everything into an even form in
Hmm.
order to understand it. So that's what we did with the tropical zodiac. We were like,
Hmm.
okay, this is too crazy. Let's bring it into the simple form,
Hmm.
so we can talk about it, because it's just you can't bring it into a simple form. Nature is just wild, and I think that's what the sidereal zodiac represents. It's man unifying with nature, or surrendering and understanding nature, and it's a bigger picture that way.
I made a video this morning. I don't know if you saw it, but it was a video called explaining what age we're in. Because
Okay.
the way that we know what age we're in, the best
Mm-hmm.
way to know is you go to the equator.
Mm-hmm.
And on March 21st, the spring equinox, You watch the sunrise. The sign behind the sun on that particular time, that's the
Right.
sign that we're in. Well, some people have done this and they
Mm-hmm.
say that we're in Pisces. I've checked it with my Skyview app because I'm not at the equator.
Yep.
And it's almost like we're in one fish, not two fish, not in the middle of two fish, but we're in the middle of one fish. And I posed this and I was wondering what your thoughts are.
Yeah, yeah. We are in Pisces still. We are
Yes.
still, yeah.
But I will tell you this much. I will tell you this much right now is that
Mm-hmm.
when we're talking about, obviously, cusps, handover dates, the 3 days
Yep.
on each sign where
Mm-hmm.
energy starts to blend.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
So if you have a month or if you have a
Mm-hmm.
sign that's 30 days and it has 3 days of a handover, that's
Mm-hmm.
1/10 of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You apply that to the macro scale. Each one of the zodiac signs is 2160 years. It's different with sidereal,
Right.
but it's 2160
Tropical. Yeah.
so what you do is 3 to 30 is 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you take 10% of the 2,160, and I'm convinced that we have a blending of energies for about a 216-year period until we're clear cut into
Oh
one.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Because
Cusp
it's not
energy
just like
is
one day we're another sign. It doesn't even
right.
happen on the yearly scale. It's not going to happen on the macro scale.
Right. I read this somewhere too, actually in a Freemason book. It was that's why the 30 degrees they talk about the last 3 degrees are or the passing over of the age going into the other. It's the cusp. And and that's exactly right. You get this blend. So we're about on the sidereal point of view, we're about 6 degrees away from actual Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a blend of two energies, and the Aquarian age is moving in, but the Piscean age is still trying to hold on because
Which is literally what you see manifesting everywhere. You see
yeah,
everyone trying to rush the age of Aquarius with
mm-hmm,
trying to get, merging with machines.
mm-hmm,
And, because Aquarius is a sign of the man, so it's the evolution of the man. Whereas
yep,
Pisces is the dogmatic religion time, the two fish, Jesus with the fish, the two
right,
fish, Jesus, the Piscean solar deity.
yep,
Um, they are holding on, but you see things like they're trying to blend Christianity and Islam a little bit. You see, they're trying to come up with a one world religion. They're
yep,
trying to do all this because they know this. This has to be exposed. This is what my life work is. This is what I do.
yep,
This is what I share with everyone. Trying to expose this because we're so young into the age of Aquarius because there is Aquarian energy in us right now. You have to admit
mm-hmm,
that there is
mm-hmm.
Aquarius energy. Even if we're still in Pisces, there still is Aquarius
Oh
energy
yeah,
coming in because of the cusp. The cusp. So because of that, I just try and share all this information out there and just basically try and get it out.
yeah. Well, it literally dawning on the age of Aquarius, where we wanted to come in. This is dawning of the age. This
Right.
is it right here. Yeah, yeah.
So you give readings.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, God, I would love to have you and Priscilla on an episode where you guys can just talk about how you each give readings
Yeah,
and I would love that. Would you be interested?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Throw us on. We can do it. Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
good.
look at
I'm
different things.
gonna run it by her. She's gonna watch this later anyway. I know her.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the Dendera zodiac. What is it? Where does it come from? What does it
Okay.
look like? Is that the plate we're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. So there's actually two zodiacs in Dendera. Actually, was it three? There's two. So there is the circular one in the ceiling.
Right.
That's one. I might have photos of that too. I don't know if you want to see it.
Yeah, yeah. Pull it up. Pull it up if you have it.
Okay, yeah, I have it on the presentation. Let me get it out. Hang on one sec. I pulled up everything for you. I was like, let
But
me
it's
just
that little like gold disc, right?
yeah, well, it's black because I'll tell you the whole story about it.
Okay.
It's black because they replicated from the Louvre Museum. So let me
Mhm.
let me just pull it up and then I'll because I want to show you a few things about this. Hang on. Let's see if I have it
You're
here.
like me with your PowerPoints, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's see. I'm crazy for pop. Well, here's the actual image of the zodiac. It's really hard to see, but that's Libra. You can see my mouse.
I can see your mouse.
Yeah, that's Libra. That's that's a fucus, and that's
Okay.
Scorpio down here, and that's
Yeah,
Sagittarius over here.
you can kind of make out Sagittarius and Scorpio. That literally looks like the. Oh, there's the Scorpion. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, you see it upside down, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how old
Yeah.
is this fucking thing?
Oh man, I forgot the exact dates. But it's old. But here's a few secrets I want to show you. So that is exactly where Fucus is in the zodiac,
Hmm.
in the sky,
Right.
right above Scorpio. He gets stung. Now I want to show you something really interesting. There's another zodiac down below. There's the rectangular zodiac. Let me zoom in over
This
here
is
so you
all
can.
from your trip to Egypt.
Yeah. So you can see here. Here's Sagittarius. You see my
Yep.
mouse. Now I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to show you a zoomed out part of the ceiling. So, let me just make this clear. So the whole entire ceiling of Dendera on the lower zodiac,
Hmm.
it's the whole wall, and you have all the signs. Everything is clean except for this one little square. See that?
Yeah.
And it's like, why is that still dirty? And here's like a little bit of a zoomed in image, and you can see here that Sagittarius right here.
Hmm.
And if you look over here on the other side, you'll see this is a Capricorn,
Hmm.
right? But you go in here, you zoom in. Here's Scorpio. You see Scorpio here,
Hmm.
Sag, and then
You know, it's
Capricorn.
funny because that picture of Scorpio,
Yeah,
that is exactly like it looks like in the sky. I mean,
yeah,
like
exactly.
Scorpio, like out of all the
Uh-huh.
constellations, like that's a straight up
Mhm.
Scorpion.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you see this blacked out
Yes.
square. Oh, and the only thing that's clear is the front of the ship. This is the ark.
Hmm.
The front of it is considered perception, the vision, moving forward, being able to see.
Hmm.
The rest is in darkness, hidden. So I asked, "What is that?" And the Egyptologist I was with was like, "Oh, that's the 13th decan." And I was just like, "Really? The 13th decan is also hidden because the 13th zodiac sign is also hidden." And he's like, "Yeah, well, that's the 13th decan." I'm like, "Why is that the only part that's clean, not clean?" And they told me, "Oh, well, it's because they didn't they didn't they forgot to clean it." And I'm
Yeah.
just like, really,
Okay.
that whole thing? They're gonna get back to it at some point. And I'm just like, no, I don't think so. So here's like a zoomed in image, and it has the head of a serpent. This is a head. If you look in close, it's the head of
Hmm.
a serpent.
Right.
And so that's Dendera. um and this is Esna. This is what we spoke about. Remember, we spoke about Esna.
Oh, I wish you
Esna,
could zoom. I wish you could zoom in on. Okay, yes, you can,
here it is.
guys. Zoom in on this. Turn your camera side. Turn your phone sideways. Watch this
Uh-huh.
on TV. This is crazy. Ike
Yeah,
sent me this on Face. I almost made a video of it, but then I was like, you know what? Ike sent it to me. This is his work. I want him to show it.
yeah,
But you can literally see all the constellations.
yeah, yeah. So here you have Sag. So this is the thing where people are like, well, we don't know like what that is, right? So clearly you can see here is a Virgo here.
Hmm.
Here is Libra, the
You can
scales.
see the lady with the wheat stalk,
Yep,
and
you
then
can
you
see
see
that lady with the
Libra the
wheat stalk.
scales, right?
This is Cancer up here.
The crab. Actually, that's Egypt. So
Pisces.
that's the scarab. That's not even the crab.
Yeah, yeah, it's the
That's
scarab. Yeah.
that's the
This
scarab.
is,
Yeah.
but here you go, Scorpio. And
Yep.
right where a Fucus is, the
Hmm.
galactic center, they say, we don't know what that is. We can't write down what that is. But you see all these serpents, the winged serpent, the feathered serpent, serpents. And then you have Sag, then you have Capricorn, then you have Aquarius. So I stopped my Egyptologist. I'm like, dude, that's the 13th zodiac sign location, the serpent bearer. You have two snakes everywhere. This is what we're talking about. So
Why would they make it so big though?
I don't know. These are the questions. Now that it's cleaned, I'm gonna go back there. I want to figure it out. Oh,
Okay.
because in these little boxes right here where these two serpents are,
Hmm.
and up here, they're supposed to be hieroglyphs. So we need to figure out what it is. When I
Hmm.
was there, this is what the ceiling looked like. You can see the beetle.
Hmm.
You can see Scorpio. So it was really dirt. It was like that's how it looked. And now it's totally clean. So this is what it looks like. The other side of the ceiling is cleaned in Esna, and this is what it looks like. So we're going to be able to see the zodiac side clean like this.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah,
So let me ask you a question that
yeah.
I ask a lot of people, and no one can really seem to understand it. But I've
Okay.
traced astrology and astrotheology back to the Lascaux caves in France 17,000 years ago. If you've ever
Oh,
seen that
okay.
information,
Mm-hmm.
but you're talking about a man with a water pitcher, two
Mm-hmm.
fish, a ram, a bull, or a
Mm-hmm.
cow, or an ox,
Mm-hmm.
twins, a crab or a scarab, a lion, a woman holding a wheat stalk, scales, a scorpion, Ophiuchus if you add it,
Mm-hmm.
the serpent bearer. Then you have the man on the horse with the bow and the arrow, and the
Mm-hmm.
goat. Why? Where does that all come from?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like that story has been like, yes, me and you have been able to trace this through history.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we've been able to, but no one seems to know why these particular things. Like,
Yeah.
yes, they put out a beautiful story and many beautiful stories. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but why? Why these random things?
I think this is our grand the great clock, the great year. This is our clock.
Right.
This is because we know history is cyclical. So you
Yeah.
have the rise and the fall. You have cataclysms after every age, they say.
Yeah.
We get knocked into oblivion. So the only thing we have left is to reckon with the stars. So if we get knocked to oblivion, we can figure out pretty easy, not pretty easy, but we can figure out when is the spring equinox? Okay. What constellation is rising when the sun rises? Okay, we're in the age of Pisces. Okay, so that's where we are. So you can figure out where you are. I
Yeah.
think
These
that's
these
what it is.
signs, these signs have survived cataclysms and
Yep,
world-ending events.
yep,
They've survived it. It's like it's the oldest science, I tell people. This is the
exactly.
oldest science. And it is just so mind-blowing because it is the key to everything.
Yep.
It is literally the key to everything.
And
It's
this is
like,
why we share it in stories, like simple stories. I mean, astrology. Everybody on this planet pretty much knows their zodiac sign, even
yeah,
if tropical sidereal or whatever.
right,
They have a belief with astrology,
right,
so everyone knows that answers are there.
right.
So
And
this is
it's
what it
just
is.
the world's religions try and keep you from it. My biggest problem
Mm-hmm.
is I tell people my biggest problem is, and I use John Dominic Cresson's quote all the
Mm-hmm.
time. I say it's not that the ancients um, told literal stories and we're smart enough to take them symbolically now. It's
Mm-hmm.
that they told them symbolically and we're now dumb enough to take them literally. And
Yeah,
that's the cause of problem for
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
This literal belief of this beautiful star poetry.
right, right. Well, here's an interesting story because so this is the path of when you're trying to figure out the stars and you realize a lot of people feel duped when they're like, I thought my sign was this and this, whatever. So that's a
Yeah,
whole story. But you start to look at why, who controlled astrology, what happened, what was the story.
right.
The story is a real simple story. The Inquisition, right? The church killed the pagans. They obliterated all the astrologers. We were evil. We were pagans. They killed us all, right?
Right.
That's kind of the story, right?
Well, that's a story of how every religion starts.
Right. So then I start to realize, okay, well that we can say that's the church or the Vatican. Then you realize that the Vatican is actually one of the biggest financiers of astronomy, observatories.
They have
They
the
have an
Lucifer telescope.
Yeah, they have an observatory foundation called the Vatican Observatory Foundation. And the weird thing is, I don't know if you remember a few years ago, they financed a telescope with the acronym of Lucifer,
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah, the Lucifer telescope.
the Lucifer telescope, and they made
You're
up,
telling me
well,
that they don't know that Lucifer is the morning star is Venus? You're telling me that they
exactly
don't
right.
know?
So the ones who killed us, are the ones who are actually holding all the knowledge.
Yeah,
And this is why I believe that we are not fully understanding the power of the stars. We're
Right.
being misguided about the
Oh,
stars.
it's beyond that. It's not even that.
Yeah.
I'm a full belief for things like Atlantis or just in general.
Hmm.
Previous civilizations were way further ahead of. See, it's a give and take, right?
Hmm.
Because like they had all this ancient star knowledge. They knew how to use acoustic levitation to build things, but
Hmm.
they didn't have like bifocals. You know what I mean? Like there was a give and take. Like even
Right.
nowadays, where we think we're the furthest along in time, that we're the smartest people, we're not. There's stuff that they had back then. They used to use sound healing frequencies. They knew all this stuff back then, and it
Right.
just seems like when we hit a certain point of evolution, that's when they try and take it away. That's why every time someone comes out with like a water powered car or something like that, they get offed because
They miraculously die,
yeah,
right?
they get
Yeah, yeah,
suicide.
yeah. Exactly.
It was a
Well, you
miracle
know
that
what I
Tesla even lived a full life.
yeah, you know what I think, and I kind of trying to figure out because this whole 13 Baktun, 13 zodiac sign, all this stuff is being hidden. When the sun crossed that part of the sky on the winter solstice,
Hmm.
where it rose in the 13 zodiac sign, 2012,
Hmm.
that's when the sun began to enter into what's called the Photon Belt. I don't know if you ever come across
Now go
this
into that.
Photon Belt. So the Photon Belt is this big belt that's shared with the Pleiades, and you everyone can research this. It's called the Photon Belt. It looks like a big donut, and it's supposed to be connected to the Pleiades. This is why during these times we're receiving Pleiadian messages, because the Photon Belt it's a light belt, and
Right. And
NASA
information travels at the speed. Yeah.
exactly.
There's plenty of talks about that. There's plenty of talks about
Mhm,
how Earth was set up for humanity, because other civilizations would come here because
mhm,
we're near like what we're near. I'm going to use the word wormhole, even though it's not actually a wormhole, but
mhm.
we're like off an exit on the highway right here. It's just very easy to get to
Yeah,
us galactically.
right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So it said that the 2012 time was our entry point into this band called the Photon Belt.
Hmm.
And I can show you an image in a minute if you want.
Sure.
Now, that band, what it was supposed to do and what it is doing, NASA calls it the local fluff. It says our solar system is entering a part of space that we didn't know. It's filled with highly charged magnetic particles and it's interacting with the sun, right? So here the ancients are saying during this time when the 13 Baktun calendar ends, you'll be entering into this photon belt. Your solar system will interact with this light energy and humanity will go through an ascension process. Your DNA will be upgraded. You know,
Right. A
you'll
lot of
be a
people talk about like when you get ringing in your ears, that's usually
mhm,
when you're about to receive a download
yeah,
or things of that nature. We're going to hit the third strand of our DNA because this is
mhm,
junk DNA. There's just inactivated stuff in us. If you haven't thought that, I mean, look at some of the science projects that they're doing out there, that the black box
mhm,
projects. Like
yeah.
we are literally like DNA is a computer code. We can be rewritten. Honestly,
Yes.
it's
Hmm.
not even funny, and they're starting to do that already.
Hmm.
Um,
Right. So it makes sense that here we have a time where we're supposed to be having a DNA upgrade based on our sun's travel, based on what the ancients tell us, based on what NASA confirms. Yeah, we're going into this local fluff, is what they call it. And then all of a sudden, now humanity has DNA altering drugs, and we're blocking out the sun, the solar rays by using these whatever you want to call them, chemtrails. It's like
right.
conspiracy, but we're yeah, we're blocking all of this out, and I wonder if this has to do with that part of space that we're in, this
Maybe.
this this photon belt.
Or maybe we're just so far along they have to reset us.
Yeah, or they're scared. I don't know. I'm going to share my screen again. I want to show you this
Yeah.
one, what this photon belt looks like.
Let me just put it
And
to you this way, Isaac. These people
mhm,
that do this stuff, your Bill Gates,
mhm,
your lawmakers, and all this kind of stuff, they keep
yeah,
big security with them, right?
yeah,
And it's because they're
yeah,
scared of you, because they're scared of you and all of you. That's really the truth. It's
right.
to protect them.
It's to protect. Yeah, yeah. Like why are they so? We're waking up. here's the Photon Belt, and it's based on, and
It's a
also
toroidal.
13, right,
It's
is
a donut.
half of the 26. Huh?
It's a donut. It's a toroidal.
Yeah, it's a toroidal field. Yeah. So this is it, and it's connecting with the Pleiades. And I just had a son. I don't know if you know, but his name is Alcyone, the grand
Really?
central star. Yeah.
Nice.
It's the central star of Pleiades. It's supposed to be the grand central sun of our entire. They say we're binary, but some say we're trinary. So maybe it's trinary with Alcyone, with Sirius, and our sun. So there's a lot of talk about that. But you see,
Pretty
our
possible.
sun has is now entering into this photon belt, 2,000 years of light. Here's another image that you might have seen. The sun going into this photon belt.
Right.
So this was what happened on the 2012,
Right.
on the winter solstice. We
Could that
entered into
explain
this
that? Could
part.
that explain like the solar flares?
Um, I'm not really sure about that. I know the solar flares happen like every 11 years. I think we're active right now, but it
Okay.
is it is it could explain why the entire solar system is heating up. Not just Earth is heating up. If you look at the data, all of the planets are heating up
Hmm.
because we're entering in this part of space. And the
Hmm.
Mayans predicted it with the 13 Baktun. They were like, "This is it. We're entering into a new age at this date," and that's what they predicted. Yeah,
I guess we agree on a lot more than we disagree. I thought this conversation was going to go very differently, but this was amazing. This was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
really amazing. Thank you for sharing all your
yeah.
knowledge. I'm going to get back to you about doing
Hmm.
what I would love to do
Hmm.
is I would love to give you a set of parameters, like a birthday, a city, a state, even if it's
Hmm.
mine. And then I'll give Priscilla one too, and then you
Hmm.
guys can compare how you do your readings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be cool. Yeah, we could do that on air, man. That would be nice.
That would be nice. I would
Yeah,
like that. Okay, so we're gonna do
yeah.
that. So, Isaac, do me a favor. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Okay, you can go to siderealastrologist.com. That's where you can find me. Or you can go to learnsiderealastrology.com. That's where I have my courses. And then I have that Facebook group, Sidereal Revolution. So you can find me on there.
Beautiful,
Yeah,
Isaac.
man.
Man, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time. This has been wonderful.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it's really sweet. Yeah,
I'll talk to you
cool.
soon. Okay,
Okay, I'll catch up with you later, man.
take
Thanks.
care.